As many of you would be aware, the GRSB has been very political in Australia, which I won't dwell on, except to say that this has meant the Australian beef industry has developed its own approach to progressing sustainability that is currently separate from GRSB. Our role as Cattle Council is to ensure that we are a link between GRSB and the Australian framework to ensure alignment. I should mention I'm not a part of the Sustainability Steering Group, but Cattle Council have been involved through the development, and the reason I'm not involved is politics again. To quickly explain how our framework is being developed, this illustrates our governance structure. The Red Meat Advisory Council is actually a forum for producers and processors to meet and discuss their issues. So it was deemed to be an appropriate group to manage the sustainability. At least we had two players in the chain in the room. The Red Meat Advisory Council have appointed a sustainability steering group to lead the process. The group comprises of grassroots industry people, on-farm, feedlot and processing. Due to politics at this point, external stakeholders are not on the steering group, but they have been widely consulted, as I will explain. To clearly state up front what the framework will deliver. It will define sustainable beef production in an Australian context. It will establish key indicators and measures and provide the platform for performance to be reported in subsequent years. It will deliver a report that addresses the sustainability priorities of the industry's major domestic and international stakeholders without imposing unnecessary costs or reporting burdens throughout the value chain. What it won't deliver is a process for establishing or endorsing measurement systems at an individual business level and a prescriptive management practices, an industry certification program or impose regulatory provisions. Whilst the Sustainability Steering Group were formed relatively recently at the end of 2015, they are not starting from scratch. The industry has been investing how to improve reporting for some time, and these are a few of the key indicators that have been informing the process. Back in 2011, a materiality review was undertaken using AA 1000, five-part process by the company who is now of Ernst & Young. We are currently in the process of undertaking another material review to ensure that we are addressing the most important areas in our framework. From these priority areas, a technical group looked at what indicators could be developed to improve reporting. Back in 2015, when the Red Meat Advisory Group took ownership of the framework, Deloitte was appointed to investigate what data existed to enable industry to report. This is really important as our approach seeks to use existing data held by different government departments, private organisations, to avoid having expensive systems in the short term. In addition, a social licence review was undertaken to understand emerging risks. I should also mention that several life cycle assessments were undertaken over this period as a matter of business, as our usual extensive research and development and extension programs addressed issues of productivity and animal production, which Meat and Livestock Australia develops in an ongoing format. In our current process, since the appointment of the Sustainability Steering Group, this is a very high-level overview of our timeline. In June, we completed the industry consultation with over 30 groups providing input to the draft vision, definition, themes and priority areas, which I'll share shortly. We are also currently undertaking an update to the materiality review, which external consultation will perform part of, once again using the AA1000. In December, we're going to open the process to widespread consultation with an online consultation platform which will provide grassroots industry, those external stakeholders we weren't able to meet with, as well as anyone from the general public, the chance to comment on what they think industry should be measuring. And in March, the first report will be published. Our vision, as I'm sharing now on the screen, is for continual improvement. As such, we don't see the first report being delivered in March as an end point, but rather a starting point. Exactly how this looks currently is being currently discussed by the industry in Australia, and we hope to be able to talk to our stakeholders about what our next steps are towards the end of the year. As mentioned, the external consultation and materiality review will be completed by the end of October, but to give you a flavour of the Australian beef sustainability framework, I want to share a few key slides from our external consultation kit. And this consultation kit is being used to communicate with all other stakeholders and industry parties, interested people out there, including WWF and a host of other non-government organisations. Firstly, the Sustainability Group has developed 5 key principles to guide the development of the framework, and two of them there. It's relevant to industry and our stakeholders. We commit to inclusivity and to considering the constructive views of those outside and inside industry. We need to make sure our measurements are credible. They need to be practical, and we need to consider whether they or not they're within our sphere of influence. And obviously, as other speakers have said, transparency is the backbone of our approach. This is our vision, to be a thriving Australian beef industry that continually improves the well-being of people, animals and the environment. Critical is a definition that makes sense to the Australian industry and meets our stakeholder expectations. And this is the draft that's being put out there for comment at the moment. 4 themes have been prepared for external consultation, and they're in no particular order, and I think they resonate with what other speakers have said and what the Global Roundtable has also listed as important themes. And in reality, the sustainability wheel can't be reinvented. It looks much the same. Doesn't matter how you come at it. Under the 4 themes are a set of priority areas. Once these priority areas are agreed on through our consultation process, we will develop a set of indicators to measure performance. Consideration has been given to potential indicators by the steering group, but we see it as critical to have the input of our stakeholders before we develop these indicators. This chart is fairly busy, but it's helpful in explaining to people that don't understand our industry well where these priority areas sit across the value chain. It also illustrates where we see our sphere of influence and the boundaries for the first report, from on-farm to the point of exit from processing or live export. Through consultation, we want to explain to our stakeholders that it isn't a marketing exercise. It's about painting a clear and honest picture of our performance across the areas that our stakeholders want to know about. These are just a few examples to demonstrate that. To finish, I want to reiterate that Australia is committed to progressing with sustainability reporting and continually improving our performance. You've no doubt noticed that while a different approach, there's a lot of commonalities with GRSB principles and criteria. We believe that we are up there with the best in the world, and we look forward to being able to demonstrate that with data. From December, the Australian Beef Sustainability Framework will have a consultation website available, so we will share that through the GRSB. In the meantime, if you would like to provide input to the Australian framework, please contact the Framework Secretariat, Pip Brand, and on the above email.